why, why you go silent, and how to finally speak with confidence. Have you ever stood in a quiet elevator beside someone you did not know, trying to think of what to say, but your mind turned blank? You felt the seconds stretch. You looked at the floor numbers changing, at your shoes, or at your phone, pretending to be busy. You wanted to speak, yet something inside you whispered, "Stay silent." Hi, I am Lydia. Welcome to Learn English Listening. Here we turn small, ordinary moments of silence into lessons of confidence. I remember one morning in London. I was waiting for my bus. A kind old man stood beside me, smiling politely. The weather was cold. I wanted to say something simple like, "What a chilly morning," but no sound came out. My brain searched for the right words while my chance quietly disappeared. That day, I promised myself I would find a way to never feel that frozen again. Because it is not the silence that hurts. It is the moment you walk away wishing you had said something. Tell me, what part of the world are you watching from? And when was the last time you wished you had something to say? Today, we will explore one small secret that can change the way you speak English forever. It does not need big vocabulary or perfect grammar. It needs something far simpler. Attention. The secret I am about to share helped me talk to strangers, make new friends, and even feel at home in another country. You will see that conversation is not a skill for confident people only. It is an art anyone can learn. So if you have ever stood silent and wished for the right words, stick with me until the end. What I learned may change how you see every quiet moment from now on. Most people believe they cannot talk because they lack vocabulary, but that is rarely the truth. The real reason is fear. Fear of saying something wrong, fear of being judged, fear of looking awkward in front of others. I used to sit in my English class and rehearse every sentence before speaking. By the time I felt ready, the moment was gone. Someone else had spoken. The conversation had moved on. I smiled, nodded, and told myself, maybe next time. But next time never came. Do you know that silence has a weight? It sits heavy on your chest when you want to speak but do not dare. You tell yourself that your accent sounds strange. You imagine people will not understand. And little by little, you start believing your voice does not belong. One afternoon at a small cafe in Cambridge, I tried to order tea. My tongue twisted. The waiter laughed softly, not out of cruelty, but surprise. Still, that small laugh stayed with me for days. I avoided that cafe afterward. Looking back, I realize it was never about my English. It was about the story I told myself after that moment. I told myself I was not enough. Maybe you have done the same. Maybe you have wanted to speak English but stopped because you feared mistakes. If so, let me tell you something important. Your English is not the problem. Your fear is just too loud. Words do not disappear because we forget them. They disappear because we hold them hostage behind worry. But there is a quiet power waiting to help you, a way to start speaking naturally even without planning every line. In the next part, I will share the simple habit that changed how I speak forever. Have you ever stopped yourself mid-sentence because you were afraid of being misunderstood? If yes, you are not alone. Stay close. The answer is simpler than you think. One day, I stopped trying to impress people with perfect words. I stopped chasing grammar. I simply started noticing people. That was the turning point. Active observation means paying attention to what is right in front of you. It means seeing the small details that everyone else ignores. When you notice those details, you create a bridge to connect with others. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you are waiting in line for coffee. The person in front of you has a mug with a funny quote. You could say, "That mug made my morning." It is a light way to break the ice. Or you meet someone carrying a book. You might say, "I have heard that book is amazing. What do you think of it?" That is called making small talk. You are not asking deep questions. You are simply inviting connection. Or maybe your coworker has a bright blue pen. You could smile and say, "I like that color. It makes writing look fun." This is noticing the details. Small words, but real warmth. You see, when you practice active observation, your English becomes alive. You do not speak from memory, you speak from the moment. People feel seen. And when people feel seen, they open up. The secret is not in what you say, but how you see. In English, we often use 3 simple phrases to describe this way of connecting. Break the ice means to start a friendly conversation. Make small talk means to share light and casual words without pressure. Notice the details means to pay attention to small things others might overlook. When you truly see someone, you stop performing and start connecting. Conversations become easy, natural, and human. It feels like opening a window after a long winter. Fresh air comes in. Now that you know the secret, let us practice it in real life. In the next part, I will walk you through everyday situations so you can use active observation with confidence. Let us take this secret and bring it into real life. Imagine yourself in a few everyday places. No script, no pressure, just presence. First, picture yourself in a coffee shop. The barista looks tired but still polite. You notice the effort in their smile. You say, "Long day, huh?" They might laugh and say, "Yes, but almost done." You both relax. The air between you softens. That small sentence did not just fill silence, it built kindness. Now think of sitting on a bus. The person next to you is reading a thick book. You glance at the title, then say, "I have seen that book everywhere. Is it as good as they say?" Even if they only nod, you have created a moment, a bridge between strangers. Or imagine waiting for class to start. Your classmate is tapping a pencil on the desk. You smile and say, "You must be a musician." They might laugh and tell you about their favorite band. From one sentence, a story begins. This is what active observation looks like in action. You are not trying to sound interesting. You are showing interest. You go with the flow, meaning you stay natural and let the moment lead. You keep the conversation going, meaning you respond with gentle curiosity instead of fear. The magic is not in grammar, it is in noticing. So next time you are with someone new, pause for a moment. Look, really see them. Then say one small thing about what you notice. That is enough. If tomorrow gave you a fresh start in English, what would you do differently? Would you hide again, or would you take a breath and speak one honest line? The world does not expect you to be perfect. It simply hopes you will show up. Every word you dare to say is a seed of connection. Plant it, and you may be surprised by what grows. When I stopped performing, I started listening. That was when my English began to bloom. Many of us think communication means talking more, but it also means listening more deeply. When you listen, you discover details others miss. You hear tone, rhythm, and emotion. You learn how words breathe. Learning English is not only about pronunciation or vocabulary, it is about presence. Imagine a small garden. You cannot force it to grow by shouting. You water it quietly. You care for it every day. Conversation works the same way. It grows when you give attention. So the next time you meet someone new, do not plan a speech. Just listen. Notice their eyes, their gestures, the way they choose words. When you truly see and hear them, the right response will come naturally. Try this today. Say something simple like, "How is your day so far?" Watch how the person's face changes. Maybe they smile. Maybe they share a little story. You have already created warmth. When you listen instead of perform, you stop chasing words. You start living them. Your English becomes not a test, but a way to care. Remember, conversations are not competitions. They are connections. You do not need to speak perfectly to be understood. You only need to be present enough to understand others. That is the gentle shift, from fear to flow, from silence to empathy, from memorized sentences to living communication. At this moment, you stand between two paths. One is silence, safe but lonely. The other is connection, uncertain but alive. Which path will you take? You do not need to wait for the perfect word. You already have everything you need: a pair of eyes that can notice, a heart that can care, a voice that can reach out. The next time your mind goes blank, do not hide. Look up, see the person in front of you, say one small thing. That is how connection begins. Maybe it will be a comment about the weather, maybe about a book, a song, or a cup of tea. The subject does not matter. What matters is the courage to begin. If this story gave you a little courage, share it with someone who needs it today. And subscribe to Learn English Listening, where every word is a step toward connection and confidence. Remember this truth. One sentence can open a friendship. One observation can change your day. And one brave moment can change your entire relationship with English. Do not wait for perfect English. Wait for a real moment. Then Sud,